Thank you, Zita. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to these prospective students. My name is Owen McIntyre. I'm a professor in the law school, specialising in the area of environmental and natural resources law. My own particular specialism is in the area of international water resources law, but I maintain a general interest across all aspects of environmental law. Just to spend a couple of moments introducing the LLM in environmental and natural resources law. This is a program that is very well established. It's been running for around 10 years now, very successfully. It's really based on the research work of a very active group of academic researchers here within the law school, the Centre for Law and the Environment. So we have a small centre here. I mean, it's the most active centre of its sort anywhere in Ireland, and so it's very much the teaching on this program is very much research led and based on the research outputs of colleagues. We take each year 15 to 20 students between full-time and part-time modes. So it's quite an intimate group, if you like, of students, very, very mixed. We tend to have students from quite mixed backgrounds. So we would have, as well as law graduates, relatively recent law graduates, we would have quite a few people who come to us from practice. We would have people who come from governmental agencies, regulatory agencies and other bodies, not all of whom would have a legal background. So we don't insist on a formal legal background, a qualifying law degree, or to have other sort of formal legal training. What we do seek for people who don't have a background in formal legal education is that they have some engagement or involvement or interest in the area of environmental law, policy, regulation or governance. So that may have been working with a regulatory agency. It may have been working advocacy work with a civil society organisation. It may have been campaigning as part of a student body. But we like people to have had some engagement in that general policy and governance sphere. Now, because we take people from a mixed background, we focus a great deal on accessibility. So we use the sort of technological resources that we have. We use the Canvas learning platform, which is used across all programs at UCC, and we use it very, very assiduously to make sure that we make all reading and background reading and materials, everything we can available to the students. We also use the Panopto lecture capture system. So we have a sort of a blended program just to maximize access. A lot of people who take the course are mid-career professionals. Now, that mixed background is actually a real bonus because what we find is that we have many people in our seminars who have practical experience, of working within, civil society actors who are challenging decisions of governmental agencies, people with experience of working in the same governmental agencies, people with experience of working in law firms, etc. And it makes for a really, really interesting mix of experience, if you like, within the classroom setting. On account of this desire to sort of make the program as accessible as possible, we have a number of introductory modules. We allow our students who haven't studied law before or environmental law before to take 2 of our undergraduate modules in environmental law, but for postgraduate credits, for credits on the LLM program. So we have 2 of these modules, Sources and Foundations of Environmental Law and Contemporary Issues in Environmental Law. But we also have an introductory module, if you like, at the LLM space, Methods in Environmental Law. So it's built around accessibility. Once students are taking those modules the way that they're structured, they can then also benefit from these more in-depth, focused, sort of sector-specific modules, such as climate law and policy, international biodiversity law, marine environmental and natural resources law, etc. We're running a new module this year on the Sustainable Development Goals and international law, looking at the legal interaction between this new governance paradigm of the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, and international law, which of course informed their development and elaboration, but which will also be impacted by their implementation. We have quite an innovative module in the form of environmental law in practice, which, as well as while our colleagues also contribute to this, we have a number of practitioners, so legal practitioners, regulators, judges, etc., that come in as guest facilitators and speakers. And so this is really, good real world experience, and allows our students to sort of discuss these real world issues in a Chatham House rules setting, so that our speakers can be very free about what they discuss, very frank about the issues that they see on a daily basis and the problems that arise. We also have an environmental law clinic, which has been running now for quite some years and running very successfully. And just at the moment, finalising our arrangement with a new client, an Irish environmental NGO, which is linked to international NGOs. And it's really to do a legal analysis of certain issues arising from the development of a global plastics treaty, which is the negotiation of which is due to be finalised in December. And we're looking at, problems presented by its scope, problems presented by its approach, etc., and to develop reports around that. We're also in discussions with a very active litigating Irish environmental NGO, Friends of the Irish Environment, for whom we've done quite a bit of work in the past to do some work around nature conservation. In the past, we've run projects on greenwashing, where we made complaints to the Irish market authorities against leading retailers for making claims about products. We've worked with the Asthma Society of Ireland, where we developed a report advocating for a change in the law in relation to smoky solid fuels, which actually resulted in a change in the law. We've also worked with the European Network of Prosecutors on the Environment, with Friends of the Irish Environment, etc. Now, many of these clinical projects, they're real world projects, where our students engage in research, develop, meet regularly with the client, manage the nature of the project, conduct the research, develop reports. But beyond that, these tend to be very high profile. There tends to be media surrounding this. So our students would also manage the media campaign around the launch of the report. That would be developing press releases. So real world experience, engaging with media, engaging with actors, and it's very, very rewarding. Our students get a great deal out of this. What kinds of careers? Well, over the past 10 years, we've seen our graduates go into a broad range of environmental governance careers generally. So many people come from and go back to legal practice, or often it's law students who are aiming to go into legal practice with that additional sort of string to their bow, that specialism in the area of environmental and natural resources law, which, don't be under any illusions, is a very, very, very busy area. I mean, there's a great deal of litigation in this area now, and one of the busiest areas of litigation and practice in any major firm. So a lot of people go into either solicitors or barristers professions, but also we find people are going into regulatory bodies, regulatory agencies. These may be governmental agencies, local authorities, other types of regulators and policy-making bodies. Quite a few have gone to or work in civil society actors, so with environmental NGOs and other types of domestic, Irish or international civil society actors, and we've very good contacts with, and collaborations with a number of those, who also often help us in terms of the clinical projects. They partner us in some of the clinical projects. Increasingly, a new area would be that of, there are other traditional areas like environmental consultancy. So the people who actually conduct, maybe with scientific backgrounds or engineering backgrounds, who conduct environmental impact assessments, strategic environmental assessments, the appropriate assessment, which is the name of the assessment, the biodiversity assessments required under the EU Habitats Directive. So the people who actually conduct these very important types of studies, which are required by environmental law really do need some legal background themselves. So we see increasingly people moving into that sphere. But I think probably the fastest growing sector is that of sustainability officers within corporate actors. I think there are very, very few companies today, in manufacturing, in services, in infrastructure, in all of these areas that don't require someone to manage their sustainability, their footprint, their carbon and other footprint, their marketing campaigns, which claim sustainability. That usually means that they have to have some sort of certification for the types of claims that they make. And that process must be managed very carefully. And it is a quasi-legal process. It's often captured by what we call transnational environmental law or governance. So really, this is a very, very good time to be going on the employment market with qualifications in this area, the broad area of environmental law, policy, governance, and regulation. It's a very, very busy sphere at the moment. Thank you, Zita.